how I managed to lose weight, get a six pack, and still kind of maintain some muscle and go to the gym. I have my first marathon in 15 days. I've been training for it since December last year. I signed up before Christmas and I did it originally to lose weight. I was really mentally down bad. This is how I look. Podgy stomach. Feel fatigued in the brain, don't feel like doing anything right now. I went through a very lonely chapter and period in my life, and that's a whole other story. But it really got me out of a mental rut, and tried the gym and I tried all sorts of things, and running seemed to be the thing that really worked out for me in terms of physical fitness. And this year alone, I've run around 300 miles and I'm feeling very confident. 2 weeks until a race day, and I want to get a sub 3 hour and 30-minute marathons. When you dedicate yourself to a form of training like that for so long, you see yourself blossom into a better athlete and just making really huge improvements as opposed to very marginal improvements, which you might only see in the gym if you've been going to the gym for a while. And I still go to the gym and I'm not knocking it for not being very effective, but running outside, especially for half marathon runs or 18-mile runs, is really just giving me that peace of mind that I'm looking for in my day that I rarely get with anything else. And I can think about things, and recently I've been reading the Bible and trying to get closer to God, and I think about that and listening to music I like and seeing the lovely views of the countryside, which I always take the videos of because it just looks amazing. I've been asked recently by a few people I've inspired, which is also something that I've never really done. I've never really inspired people, but I've inspired people to start running as well. And that's also incredible, just close friends of mine. And they're doing like 2 miles here and there. And I'm not knocking that. I was doing a mile or two, just running to the gym. I didn't plan to sign up to an event, but I think signing up to a marathon event, and this kind of applies to even a guy I met recently who does powerlifting. I was like, if you just sign up for a powerlifting event, it'll keep you accountable and you won't want to cancel your event or to skip on your training. I think signing up for an event in whatever endeavor you do, fitness or not, is definitely the way to keep yourself accountable and remain consistent with something. Every run I do, I'll document it, because I feel like while growing up, I wish I'd documented more things, whether it was learning piano or whether it was when I first got into the gym. There's just so many things that you want to document, and the common consensus seems to be that if you're not very experienced in something, when I'm better, I'll start documenting it. It's better to start documenting the more early you can, and I've done that somewhat. I wish I did it a little bit earlier with my running and my training, especially when I was more out of shape. There's like photos and vague videos here and there, but I have journaled a little bit, and really seeing videos of your older mindset and then comparing it to your newer mindset and your improvements that you're making. When you see that contrast between before and after with your own two eyes, and not deluding yourself with your own illusions, which I think is very common for especially me to do. I can make really good gains in the gym or progress in life towards something, and there'll be a bunch of people saying, you're doing really well and this and that, and then I have this very like humility sort of mindset of, I've not really improved, And this is what I think is really good about documenting. If I didn't sign up to an event, I might still be doing 6-mile runs, 8-mile runs. And when I experience just a little bit of pain, I would ignore that now, because I know the reason and the big why as to why I'm doing this. And I'll be going to sleep and just closing my eyes and just seeing the finish line and the time board where it says, a sub 3:15 time, and I'm crossing that line, and opposite me so the race finishes in a stadium is like some of my friends and my mum and whatever. But this journey really started solo. This was a solo journey, and that's what it's all about. and I got inspired by ultra marathon runners who do 100-mile runs, 200-mile runs. It was on a Joe Rogan podcast, and it was so inspirational. And I think that was my big why. I was in very bad place mentally when I started off, but seeing the incredible achievements of other humans, and this woman was a primary school teacher that ran over 200 miles, and I was just thinking how impressive that is, and has so much humility for such an achievement, and it just really impressed me. Maybe there's some people that watch UFC and they feel the same way. I felt like running is a very unappreciated sport, ultra running. These people don't sleep who do ultra marathons for 3, 4, 5 days, barely sleep, less than an hour probably in total, and it's just crazy. In terms of the outcome, the goal that I want from running, and that's something I've not really thought about too much, because I just thought I'm going to start doing this just for health, just to lose a bit of weight. And as I started doing it more and more belief and confidence built up in myself to then eventually be like, when Christmas comes around, to be like, yeah, you know what, I'm going to sign up to a marathon. That's something less than 1% of people do. It's something that I think would be very challenging. It would be one of the hardest things I do, probably. I initially told a lot of people about it just to keep myself accountable and to not, make myself look like a fool for backing out, because we all care about our self-image and trying to preserve that. And it's worked out well so far. I want to create like a running course, monetize what I've done, because that's the smartest way to go about it. And this is why I've been documenting my journey, is because I actually anticipate to achieve my goal of a sub 3:15 time, and to publish that and to make people that are like me months ago, who were down bad, to see that A to B transformation, and to be like, you know what, of all the subscriptions I can pay for, I'm gonna go ahead of this guy. I want to know what his diet is. I want to get into good shape like him. He's clearly not on steroids, and he's just doing a very honest business, and it's his first, it's evidently going to be my first time ever really doing a personal brand like this, where I create a course and try to help people and get like a sense of community going, just like everybody else is doing. But I definitely believe in my authenticity and my trustworthiness coming through. After achieving a marathon, I've been thinking, do I want to get into martial arts or into boxing or into calisthenics? I've been trying a bit of calisthenics outside, learning to muscle up, and I'm looking at these people who have done this for like 5+ years, and they're doing really impressive things like backflipping off bars or whatever. I actually met a guy in my first time at the calisthenic park that was doing that, and it was just so impressive to see in person what the human body is capable of. I'm now 25 years old. For me to get to 30, 35, 40, you're never too old to start things, but definitely get started the sooner you can, because I think a lot of us underappreciate what our body is capable of, and that youthful energy and recovery that really doesn't last long in the grand scheme of things for the majority of your life. And it seems like the older you get, the more maintenance work is required. So while I'm still young, I want to be able to do all that sort of stuff. I'm really happy to come to that realization that I'm just outdoors more often, because that's kind of what running 15, 18 miles quite a few times now in my training has made me do. It's made me think, instead of just running around a park lap many times, I may as well just go to other places and explore around. And it's definitely led me to go to really nice towns outside of the city that I live in, and to sort of just take in a new environment. I think it's very common, especially when I move into a new city, not really explore around too much, but to stay in the town center, to kind of go around the city, to go around all the common spots. You might even Google some bars or something you can go to. But I feel like with true exploration and being a little bit adventurous with where you go comes with actually going to different places that you can't really look up, or maybe not so many people know. And the reason why not so many people know about the spots that I go to, mostly just like lakes and really like nice views of the countryside, is because a lot of people don't really do that sort of stuff, especially if you live in like nearer the city. And if you're one of those people that can sort of do that, people will find you very interesting. Quite recently, just yesterday, I actually used my smartwatch for the first time, and that was really cool. Very interesting statistics and metrics that I can get into with heart rate variability, my VO2 max, which apparently is in a top 1% now. And I purposefully bought some new running shoes and a smartwatch later into my training, because I found that when I get into a hobby, especially in the past, I remember I was really into art at one point, and then even just a week of doing art, I got all the best pencils, the best quality paper, I bought all the best equipment. And maybe you can relate to this. When you get into something, you get the best equipment. But I told myself, I'm starting this marathon training to become a different person. I want to think about things differently. This is just not a race. This is a transformation for life. I know it sounds crazy. So I just said, I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait until like week 12 of my training, where I'm running like 10, 12 miles, when the mileage is really going up on each run. Then when I start experiencing pains in my foot and I actually need this equipment, then I'll get it. And then I bought my first pair of running shoes, and I'll show you, just over a month ago now, and they look like I've worn them for a year. They're so beat up, but that's good. I was patient. I waited. I upgraded equipment. You know, I got the watch and stuff, and I can really appreciate the metrics now, as opposed to when I'm a beginner who can barely run a mile or two, and I look at all these advanced metrics and get overwhelmed by what I'm looking at, and not really actually getting any value from it. Like, the only value that you can get as a beginner is just taking action and just developing yourself, getting progress. But I'm at the point now where stuff like my running form, my running economy, understanding my stride, and all these like very specific things really makes a difference now. And it's actually worth me getting into that. Still not neglecting the aspect of training and taking action, but alongside that, I can make improvements and tweaks along the way. But after the marathon, I will be releasing a lot of content I've got planned out. How I managed to lose weight, get a six-pack, and still kind of maintain some muscle and go to the gym. While my physique isn't a top 1% that you might see on Instagram, it's definitely something I'm really proud of. I've not been proud of my physique before for like so long, for years. It's something I'm proud of, actually. And it's more of the effort that I put in. It's been 7-8 months of training. To give up on my goal would just be the biggest disappointment. Go to bed every night to dream about it, to talk to people about it, to watch videos about it. This strong emotional attachment to my identity on what it is, then you can't really give up. You'll reach those points where your muscles hurt, everything cramps up, but the reason why you start is so strong, you just persist anyway. See you guys in a bit. Till the next time.